Hello and welcome back to Kino-Plays, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defence please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to have entered it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh, the ID card record. Oh, so it was ice cream, right. That makes more sense than eating ice, Topo. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 PM. Crap. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 PM. Ah. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining, all 7s. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with all 7s. Mr. Edgeworth, look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7s. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number all 7s belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge is filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all like, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. Yeah, definitely fell into Von Karma voice there for a bit. Well, not quite the voice, but certainly the territory. I take pride in my work. Officer Marshall, I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yep. No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we looked up her ID number, and it's not all sevens. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana? I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. See? That's what I'm talking about. No, no! Order! Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. I still don't get it, Toma. I mean, to me, the only explanation is that she's doing it because maybe if she defended herself, none of this would have gone to trial in the first place, because maybe she can easily prove that she isn't involved. Oh, right, you're taking it as she feels guilty about the past, so now that she's being framed, she's fine with it. I still don't think so. I still think that most of the people involved with SL9 are working together on this frame job, including her, as a way to gain access to information that they wouldn't be allowed to gain access to otherwise. Because like they said, like, Edgeworth can't get information on a certain badge number because it's too high rank. They need to put charges against someone of a certain rank to gain access to information at that level. I think this whole thing is very carefully crafted so that they can go after the chief of police. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. Well, I didn't see that one coming. Really, Phoenix? Really? I mean, the moment a name came up in the record, that should have been a major clue. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. And at the time she would have been 14, or no, she would have been 13 or younger, since she's not even 16 yet, is she? I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. No, dude. 13. Remember, she's 15. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lorna forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumours about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. Dude. No! Don't come up with that kind of bullshit about how someone's still involved even when they don't know it. Fuck off with that. It's his boss's job to give him... It's the detective's and his boss's job to give him the evidence for his case. He has to trust that the people giving him evidence are true. Fuck's sake. After that case ended, Lorna was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lorna's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lorna was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lorna was a detective. The fuck? Well, that alters a few things. Okay. So we had 3 detectives on the case and the deputy chief of police. No, correction. 4 detectives on the case and the deputy chief of police. What the hell? She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Why? She would still need to go to law school and shit. Going from cop to lawyer is not a matter of a promotion. What? Lonnie used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Do we have any evidence that we haven't dealt with her yet? We got the video in the incident files. I think I would have shown her everything else before this. May as well show these two just in case. We are an entire success in court today to this tape. At first I thought it was a joke, but it turned out to be a goldmine of evidence. I counted a total of 5 clues in it. It also gave the Blue Badger some publicity. Of the negative sort, that is. It seems everything is somehow related to this incident. What was it labelled again? The SL9 incident? Yes, the name of everyone connected to this trial is listed in here. All that's left is to figure out just what role everyone played in this case. If we search hard enough, I think we'll find our answers. What exactly did or didn't Lana do? I'm not sure I want to know everything. Alright, let's go talk to Lana. See if we can get a goddamn straight answer out of this woman. Lana! Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about the unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered in the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goldman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing! They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the Deputy Chief of Police back then. Wrong character. He was the Deputy Chief of Police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're Chief Prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became Chief of Police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of of theirs 2 years ago. Two years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who'd passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. Bullshit! Yeah, that is really sus. One huge X to doubt on that. I mean, first of all, there's the question of, where'd he get the knife? That's the first question. Second, as you're pointing out, why wasn't the chief there? I mean, the chief and Marshall were questioning, so why didn't they both go after him? I mean, I suppose maybe the chief went off to get other officers while Marshall chased after him? But sus is sus. Third thing, why that office? I know they said that it is opposite the elevator, but why wouldn't he just use the elevator or carry on along the corridor instead of going into an office? Seems like he knew exactly where he was going. Sounds to me like he may have been working with someone, who I suspect to be the chief of police. And you find him knocked out with Marshall dead on top of him, with a knife in the back of Marshall. Yeah, that doesn't at all scream to me that Marshall was killed by the chief and the chief knocked out the Dark. Yeah. Big sussed out on this one. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all his sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Doc under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. But what are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Oh, really? By any chance, were you working with Goodman and Angel on all this setup? And you left him out thinking he wouldn't be able to do a good job of it, and then it surprised you all by stealing Marshall's ID and impersonating him and trying to steal the evidence. Did he bugger up your plan? Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the Chief's office. Oh-ho! Well, yes, you certainly wouldn't be able to investigate that office without finding some way to implicate the Chief in something else now, would you? Huh. Interesting. Also, maybe going back to the why would Dark end up in that office? Maybe Gant didn't know that Emma and Lana were in there. Maybe just slipped Dark a note to get him to run away and to go and hide in his office. Because he was planning on going up there to deal with Dark. And shit went sideways. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Yeah, I'm sure the Chief would be so happy to allow you to investigate his room, Phoenix. Yeah, that's gonna happen with ease. Okay, she's not interested in that evidence. Probably no point showing her anything else there. Let's go over to here. See if Cough Up Queen has anything new for us. Huh, no one's here, not even Miss Star. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, but you also strongly implied that someone had been murdered there at 4:20. Try to keep up with your own ideas. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. Instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find out all the answers by tomorrow. Oh! And there's another piece of evidence. There's another, of the very least, coincidence to put in the Chief is the murderer column, Tomo. Remember, Edgeworth said very clearly to us that he was called to the evidence room to collect some evidence by Chief Gant. So Gant killed the guy, then called Edgeworth over so that he could stuff the body in Edgeworth's trunk while Edgeworth was in the evidence room. That's my thought, anyway. Gotta find all the answers by tomorrow. I'm still really suspicious about that barrel and the tap, just because they're not in the photo. I still don't trust that photo to have been from here. So maybe it's just an art error. Maybe they forgot to draw the extra barrel and the tap in that photo. I don't think there's anything for us to... Oh, wait, there is something we might be able to check in here. Oh yeah, we can't actually choose to do fingerprints, can we? That's something that has to happen automatically, doesn't it? Crap. Let's respray this for the blood and see if it'll let us do a fingerprint check on it. This blood must be from when Lorna... No, my sister isn't the murderer. But she did call you, didn't she? At the time of the crime? And her right hand is bandaged. Yeah, I bet that piece of the missing pot's very important. Hey, just whose side are you on? This has nothing to do with taking sides. So, this means that Lorna's hand had blood on it. This just keeps getting worse. And no. Apparently I can't check that for fingerprints. God damn it. Yo, Edgelord, you got anything to tell us? Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lorna admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. I guess we'll just have to come back later. I still want to know what this is about. I wish that photo hadn't flashed by so quickly about Marshall's brother, because he was holding the trophy. I wanted to see if the trophy was intact at that time or if it was already broken. Because we still don't have any explanation of the broken trophy. God damn, neighbour, turn your fucking volume down. If my mic picks up your music and I get claimed for it, god damn it. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you heading? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why the prosecutors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Let me check the handprint! Blue Badger's still writhing around today. Oh, crap, that was Emma. Damn it. Ah! Not more of this. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's dancing. Speaking of dancing, the whole police department's been dancing about like crazy since the other day. Can I take out his batteries? I just can't help but feel that he's going to do something naughty. Ugh. I'm still wondering what the hell we're supposed to do with this screwdriver as well. What the hell is the AI-16 incident? Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. Interesting! So your theory is that, well, assuming you have the same suspect I have, your theory is that the chief stabbed your brother, pulled the knife back out, and took the switchblade knife off Dark and then shoved it back into the wound in order to frame Dark. Huh. Interesting. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? Oh, son of a bitch! What if the murder weapon wasn't a knife at all, but a screwdriver? What if Gant took a screwdriver out of evidence, stabbed Marshall with it, and then made the wound bigger with the switchblade knife as part of framing Dark? That could be how the screwdriver's going to come into play. Oh, that would be tricky as shit, that would. I would like that to be the answer. Oh. That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation save one was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lorna transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gunn, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that you mention it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but a secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret? It all started 2 years ago. I got the looks, but he got the brains. Fuck you, dude. He's cuter than you. He got the looks. That he could do with a beard. Whereas yours is just scruff. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Yeah, you're right there, Phoenix. That is interesting. After all, during evidence transferal, most of the cops that matter are busy doing evidence transferal. It's the grunts and the fuck-ups that are left doing all the other jobs. So security would have been very lax on that day for the investigation that was going on. The interrogation. Yeah, I'm sure that Gant couldn't possibly have manipulated things so that they'd call Dark in on that particular day to ask him questions, with the intent of letting him escape, so that you could pass the blame over. Sus intensifies. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be a patrolman after today. Won't even be. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Interesting. Just in case anything's changed with him disappeared. Nope, still can't check it. Seriously though, we've got a fingerprint kit and we've got luminol. Let us spray the goddamn badger and check it for fingerprints. Because even if we don't know that it has anything to do with the case, We should still check. It was in the goddamn evidence room. Yeah. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. Really? Looks like Doctor Who and the bald man are still here. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. If you're looking for the others, they're in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying that she did it, what she did, and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for these. For those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Yeah, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. You've just been told you can't go there. Okay. What the fuck? Oh. Do you notice something in that picture, Tomo? Between Marshall and Lana? I see a vase. I wonder if that is what knocked out the dude, Dark. But then it did have blood all over it, so, Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Back. Well, Bach. Whatever. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was. Oh shit. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, righto. Have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full. Full too. With Miss Marshall's misconduct. Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how the time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Oh! Gee! I wonder if that could be the murder weapon. Why the hell would you have a spear out in the open like that? That's a picture of Lorna, Neil and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. Yeah, it's framed weird as hell, for one thing. Also... Oh! Never mind the spear, Tomo. Have you noticed the trophy? There's your murder weapon. With its broken tip. It's a broken sword and shield. Not just a broken shield. Interesting. Can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Canteen picture added to court record. Get the fuck out. Nah. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm gonna lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh. But this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. Nothing suspicious in my office. Get the fuck out. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. Yeah, it seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No, why'd you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now, Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Sky's the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutors are responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumours going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor's kept him safe from those who didn't like him. But now, with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier, while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall. He was trying to protect some girl. Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realised Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with murder weapon. Ah, I forget. Luke, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Haha. Alright, let's do that. Oh, so I don't forget. Oh, goddammit, I'm on the wrong thing again. It's present, not wherever I was. About this. Yeah, what about it? Sod off. I'll tell you next stream. So, see you around, guys. This has been Kino-Plays, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. New episodes are uploaded daily to the YouTube channel, 9 PM UK time. Thank you for joining me, take care, and goodbye.